Hi, hello, and a very warm welcome to another video. In this video, I'm going to share with you some challenges of online teaching for private teachers. I'm going to share with you 10 challenges of online teaching for private teachers. Now, if you've clicked on this video, chances are you're thinking or you're considering of teaching online. Or maybe you have started and you're facing a number of challenges and you're thinking, what did I get myself into? In this video, I'm going to reveal 10 challenges of online teaching that private teachers tend to face. I'm also going to give you some solutions to kind of help you to find your way around the problems. Now, let's face it, online teaching has plenty of advantages. I mean, you can teach from anywhere. You don't have to incur any travel costs at all, and you don't have to deal with harsh weather conditions. You also get to choose the students that you're going to teach, and it's quite flexible because you can also teach when it best suits you. And that may mean that you're left with plenty of time to do other things. Having said that, online teaching does have a number of challenges. The first challenge is an obvious one, and that is technological difficulties. Now, quite often, whether you're going to be using Zoom or Skype or any other platform to teach online, you will incur some technological difficulties from time to time. For example, at different times of your lessons, one of your students may complain that, "Sir, Miss, I can't see you." And that could also be vice versa. You may find yourself telling your students, "Hey, I can't see you anymore," due to video problems. From time to time, you may also incur some voice problems. Sometimes you can't hear your students, sometimes the student can't hear you at all, and sometimes it goes on and off. Now, how can you overcome this problem? I would recommend that you invest in a very good webcam. I know most laptops come with webcams, but I would personally advise you to buy a webcam. It doesn't have to be an expensive webcam. A webcam that is going to cost you 15 euros or maybe even less is going to be good enough that you can just place on top of your laptop. That is going to solve the problem of, "Oh, I can't see you." So just buy yourself a webcam that you can place on top of your laptop. That will ensure that throughout the entire lesson, the student can see you. And if it happens a lot that you can't see your students, then you may also request them to buy a webcam. It's not expensive. Like I said, for $15 or less, you can buy yourself a good webcam. Now, the other way that you could solve technical difficulties is by making sure that you have good internet connection. I mean, let's face it, you're using the internet to teach and make money, so you might as well just invest in good internet connection. Now, you may also consider signing up. Usually Zoom and Skype are free, but if you want to take it to the next level, then you could get a monthly subscription that guarantees you better connection. Now, so that is the first problem, technological difficulties. And I've given you some ideas of how you can actually go about trying to resolve some of those problems. The second challenge that teaching online is going to present to you is students getting distracted, and that will happen not because your lesson is not engaging, not at all. This will happen because of where they are. For example, they could be in a room that is full of people. Maybe their siblings are out and about, they're within the room, and maybe pets. Okay, so they could be getting distracted by noise from siblings or pets. Now, to resolve that problem, you could request the parents to find a quiet place where their children can have lessons. The other tip that I would give you is perhaps you can ask the parents to choose an appropriate time when there is a chance that the house is going to be quieter. Okay, so there is that problem. Right from the beginning, request the parent to identify a quiet place in the house from where the students can have their lessons. Now, that does not have to be in their bedroom. It could be anywhere else, but just ensure that you're teaching the students in a convenient place in regards to silence. You need silence. You need to ensure that you don't have these other external distractions. For example, noise from siblings or pets. Now, the third challenge that you're likely to face when you're giving your lessons online is you will sign up for some teaching online platforms. You will look up some teaching online platforms where you could sign up to begin teaching online. And after you have signed up, after you have uploaded your CV and maybe your photo, and you have been approved, and your profile is up and ready for students to begin clicking on your profile and requesting lessons from you. Now, once you have done that part, you might face a number of difficulties or nasty surprises. And the first nasty surprise that you may be faced with is that after you have taken the time to register yourself, you have uploaded your CV, you have uploaded your photo, you may be shocked to find out that you have to pay a subscription fee to get access to the students. Now, if you're not prepared for that, that can be quite disappointing. Some websites, some teaching websites will require you to pay a subscription fee to get access to the students. The other nasty surprise that you could get is that you may realize that actually you can't determine your pay or choose your students. So the teaching platform where you have put up your teaching profile may not be one of those that give you the chance to choose how much you want to get paid and choose your students. The other nasty surprise that you may face once you have registered with some of these teaching websites is that you may be forced to teach in a particular way. Some of them do not give you the leeway to actually teach and prepare the lessons the way you would like to do it. Instead, they dictate how you're supposed to teach the lesson from the beginning to the end, and you're compelled to use their own teaching resources. Now, if that's the sort of thing that you like, then fair enough. But if you're the sort of teacher who likes to do your own thing, then that might be a challenge. Now, the other challenge that you might face once you have registered with some of these websites is that you realize you do have to bid for the students. Whereas some websites give you the chance to choose your students, or they give the students the chance to actually just click on your profile and request for lessons, some of those websites you have to bid for the students. And to bid for the students, some of those websites require you to be premium members, meaning that you have to pay a subscription fee for you to get access to the students. So that might be a nasty surprise if you are not prepared for it. Now, how can you avoid that problem? You can avoid that problem by ensuring that, first of all, you read up on all the details about the website before you sign up. And that will eliminate the sort of nasty surprises that you don't want to deal with. Because let's face it, a lot of these online teaching websites are very different in a lot of ways. Some of them will give you the chance to choose your students, set how much you want to get paid, and some of them, as soon as you sign up, you can actually begin teaching straight away. So choose the website that, or the online teaching platform that suits you best. The fourth challenge that you're likely to face as an online teacher is the worst of them all, and that is payment. Now, you may find yourself dealing with a lot of issues in regards to payments, and the first problem that you may face in regards to payments is last-minute cancellations. You've taken the time, you've prepared your lesson, and 5 minutes before the lesson, the student cancels the lesson. Sometimes, if you're unlucky, you begin the lesson, you log into Skype or Zoom, and you're ready to have your student, and they send you a message that they're not available for the lesson on your phone. That can be extremely disheartening. The other issue of payment that you may face is students, and listen really carefully, students who pay you through PayPal, and after they have paid you, they contact PayPal and request for their money back because they claim that you did not offer the services that you promised to for the money. In other words, they contact PayPal and say that they never got taught, so they would like their money back. And because of PayPal's policy, they refund the money back, meaning that you lose the money and the time that you spend teaching that particular student. So be extremely careful when it comes to that. The third problem that you may face when it comes to payment is some parents will not pay you at all. So you teach the son or the daughter, and maybe you had agreed that they will pay you after the lesson, maybe after 2 lessons, or maybe after 1 lesson, or maybe after 5 lessons, or maybe 10 if you're very generous. And as soon as you complete teaching the lesson, you send them an invoice and you never hear anything from them. So that can also be very disheartening. You also have another set of problems in regards to parents who will you will send them an invoice and they will give you all sorts of excuses as to why they don't have the money to pay you. For example, you have parents who will tell you that, I'm going through a very difficult time, a change in my personal circumstances, I'm going through a divorce, I had not foreseen that, so all the money that I have, I'm putting into that. So beware of parents who will give you a lot of excuses and they expect you to understand as to why they can't pay you. Now, how can you overcome this problem? Default payments. How can you overcome these problems? Now, really, the first thing that you need to do is ensure that you create a contract in regards to cancellation problems. Okay, make sure you have a contract in regards to a cancellation policy. Okay, make sure that you have a contract in regards to rescheduling of lessons, and most importantly, make sure you have a contract in regards to a payment policy. I would advise you that you do not teach anybody unless they have paid you. I mean, let's face it, when we buy things online, we pay for them up front. So it should be exactly the same way with your lessons. Let the parent buy the lesson, and then after that, you teach the child. I know you will be tempted to trust them, but trust me, after you have done that, you will regret it, because they will come up with all sorts of reasons as to why they don't have the money to pay you. And they expect, because you're a teacher, you will be very understanding. So please do not teach anybody unless they have paid you first. Collect your money first. If you decide that it's going to be one lesson and then you get paid immediately, fair enough. But I would personally recommend that let the parents buy the lessons, or whoever it is that you're teaching. Buy the lesson the same way you buy products online. Usually you buy the product and then it's delivered at home. Okay, you pay up front. So the same way, let them pay for your lessons up front. And then once they have paid you, you can teach them. In a worst case scenario, then begin by receiving your payment immediately after the lesson. And if you realize that they are wavy, they're not teaching you, they're not paying you after you have taught the first lesson, then that's a red flag. Do not be tempted to say, I'll teach you 2 lessons and then after that you can pay me. More often than not, it doesn't work. The other tip that I would give you in regards to payment is choose your payment method very carefully. Personally, I would recommend that you do not ask them to pay you through PayPal, unless it's a parent that you have first of all checked out. Okay, because you do have some parents who are credible, and when I say that, I say that very lightly, because don't judge a book by the cover. You may think a parent is very trustworthy, only to realize that actually they are far from it. So choose your payment method very carefully. In my opinion, in my experience, I would recommend that you ask them to deposit the money directly in your bank account. Now, if the student or the parent, for whatever reason, they're not able to do that, then you can use PayPal, but record your lessons. Make sure that you have proof that you taught that particular lesson. For example, when you begin teaching the lesson on Skype or on Zoom, You could start the lesson by saying, "Oh, James, good evening. Are you ready for lesson 1?" Okay, and then you wait for them to respond on the chat box by saying yes. Now, that is proof. You have recorded proof on the chat box that actually lesson 1 happened. And then at the end of, ensure that during the whole lesson, you're communicating with the students on the chat box. And then at the end of the lesson, send them a message, or rather, you can write something like, your homework for lesson 1 is to complete task 1 and task 2, and it's due on Friday. Okay, so ensure that you have a record on the chat box that you actually taught that particular lesson, so that if they go to PayPal and complain that that lesson never happened, then you have proof. Now, the fifth challenge that you're likely to face as an online teacher is sometimes you will request, you will find students who, or let's say you will ask some students you will promise to give a free lesson. Most of the times when someone clicks on your profile, they may request for a free lesson, or you may offer a free trial lesson before they sign up for teaching. Now, I would personally recommend that you be extremely careful with that, because you have some students who are professional free trial online lessons. In other words, they go from one teacher to another, they jump from one teacher to another requesting for a free trial lesson, and they never sign up. So be extremely careful with that. And how can you overcome that problem? Tip number 1, be very careful when it comes to the geographical location of the students. There are some countries that I will not mention here, third world countries, where you have students who, or people who are professional free trial lesson sort of people who will constantly request for that, and they never sign up. So choose your students very carefully. If you sense that that is the case, if you sense that they may be requesting for a free trial lesson and not sign up, if you have that gut feeling that that might happen, then just don't do it. Okay? And if you do it, then you can make your free trial lessons very, very, very short, 10 minutes, so that you don't waste much of your time. And let's face it, when you begin teaching them, you will get an impression straight away that they are simply trying to manipulate you, to fool you around, and that they won't sign up for any lessons at all. So beware of repeat offenders who keep asking for free lesson trials. Now, the sixth challenge that you're likely to face is that after you have taught the students and the student has achieved their objectives, whatever it is, maybe they wanted you to prepare them for a particular exam, and they have completed the course, and they have done the exam, and they have passed the exam. You may request them to write you a review, because online teaching relies a lot on client reviews. Now, one of the challenges that you might find yourself facing is that some of the students that you teach will not write a review for you. When you forward to them the link where they should post the review, they simply don't respond, or just never write anything really. And then you have the others who will write for you a bad review despite the fact that you help them to achieve their goal. So be very careful or beware of that. Personally, I would recommend that if it's a negative review and they achieved the goal that you are preparing them for, you simply delete it, really, because it's not credible. It's not unprofessional to do that, because you help them to achieve the goal that they wanted. So be aware of that. The seventh challenge that you might find yourself confronted with is parents who want to sit in the lessons when you're teaching their children. Okay? Now, don't be surprised if the parents insist that he or she wants to sit in the lesson when you're teaching their daughter or their son. Now, don't take offense to that. Some of them, it's because they probably initially don't trust you, and as time goes by, they realize that actually I can trust that teacher to deliver exactly what I've paid for, and with time then they stop doing that. But also what you could do is you turn the parent into a student, okay? Meaning that you find ways to let the daughter or the son interact with the mother to enhance learning. And that should work to your advantage as a teacher to enable you to achieve your teaching objectives, but also that puts the parent on spot. And if you don't really want them there, with time you will realize that they will stop wanting to join their son or daughter when you're teaching them online. The eighth challenge that you're likely to face when you're teaching online is that you have students who also may face technical difficulties because they're not conversant with some of the learning platforms that we use to teach online. They may encounter a lot of difficulties, technical difficulties. Like, for example, from time to time, they will say to you, I don't know how to turn the video on. I don't know how to turn the sound on. Or sometimes you're teaching them and you can't hear them, and that's because they have muted the speaker, or they have disabled their video. So before you start the lessons, before you start teaching them, you could kind of just help them navigate through the few tools that you're going to be using. For example, how to mute and unmute the speaker or the sound and the video as well. The best thing is just to learn by making mistakes. So initially, before you start the lessons, you could just take them through that. If you get a feeling that they're the sort of student who are not very well versed with technology. And the ninth challenge that you might find yourself confronted with, or rather a reality, it is more of a reality, is that online teaching is very time consuming when it comes to preparation. Now, most of the times you're teaching one student at a time. And the reality is that even though you're teaching one student for that particular time, the preparation time for that one student, it's as if you are preparing for 20 or 30 students. It's quite demanding, and especially because you also have to ensure that you have a lot of different teaching resources and teaching strategies, because it's a one-to-one sort of lesson where you have very little interaction. I mean, the student can only interact with you. And you want to make sure that the lesson is not one-sided, that it's not teacher-centered, that it's kind of interactive. So it takes a lot of time to find the sort of resources that act as an avenue to foster that sort of interaction. So be prepared to spend a lot of time, quite a lot of time, preparing for your lessons online. So they're quite time consuming to prepare. Now, the last challenge that you might face when you begin teaching online is that sometimes you kind of miss that interaction with your colleagues that you would normally have in a staff room or in a school or in a department. You miss that kind of interaction. You feel kind of isolated. Now, don't feel that way, really, or rather you're allowed to feel that way, but you could actually do something about it. There are a lot of online teaching social groups for teachers. For example, you could find a couple of them on Facebook, where you could interact with other teachers and kind of just feel supported and share experiences and maybe even resources. Okay, so there you go. Those are the 10 challenges that you're likely to face if you're planning on teaching online as a private teacher. I'm just going to give you a recap of all the 10 challenges that I mentioned in this video. The first one is technological difficulties. The second one is, having students getting distracted due to being in environments that are not conducive for learning. The third challenge is that getting disappointed once you have signed up with some of these online teaching platforms and realizing that actually they're not exactly appropriate for the way you would like to deliver your online lessons. The fourth challenge is in regards to payment. The fifth is in regards to the repeat offenders who keep asking for free trial lessons and they never sign up for them, for any lessons. The sixth one is students who will not write a review for you, despite the fact that you've actually helped them to achieve their objectives. The seventh challenge is parents who want to sit in the lessons when you're teaching their daughters or their sons. The eighth challenge is students who are actually not techie. They're not conversant with various technological tools that are supposed to act as a means for you teaching them online. And then the ninth issue is the reality of the fact that actually teaching online is very time consuming when it comes to preparing for the lessons. And the last challenge that I have talked about is the feeling of isolation, that as an online teacher you miss that you miss your colleagues, you miss interacting with other members of staff, really, and getting their input. And I've also given you some tips as to how you can actually kind of ensure that you find your way around some of these challenges and enjoy your online teaching experience and get paid for it, really. So there you go. I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, then kindly give this video a thumbs up. Please do share the video with anybody else who may benefit from it. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more useful content. And I shall see you in our next lesson or video. Remember, If it has anything to do with money, I upload it in this channel. Now, thank you and bye bye.